Anyone who studies the Quran seriously knows that a huge component of the narrative of the Quran is the storytelling of the Quran. And anyone who's familiar with the stories in the Quran knows that the most compelling and the most elaborate story told in the Quran is that of Musa alayhi salam. His story is made up of multiple episodes, highlighted in multiple places in the Quran, the most talked about prophet and the most talked about story alayhi salam in the Quran by many accounts. And each episode has this special feature. Each part has its own message or its own collection of messages. I've been talking about the story of Musa alayhi salam for many years, and I've done many story nights dedicated to each of those small snippets and small episodes. But there's one episode that I overlooked all these years. It's this part of his career where the sorcerers have been defeated. So the showdown has happened. They threw down their ropes and their rods, and Musa alayhi salam has thrown his staff, and now they've become believers. And there's a panic within the Pharaoh's administration, and he's been humiliated in front of the entire nation. From that point on, all the way to the drowning of the Pharaoh. So this is a very specific episode, like the defeat of the sorcerers all the way to how did the Pharaoh end up drowning. I consider that episode, the defeat of the magicians, the sorcerers, the first domino to fall. And the last of those dominoes to fall is his drowning. And each of those dominoes in between, I overlooked them for many years, but the more I decided to focus on them, the more I realized there's an entire treasure in this particular time span that has been overlooked. I had never really paid attention to it, and I didn't really hear anybody else talk about this magnificent piece of history that the Quran has crystallized. And that's actually what this story night is dedicated to. Usually I don't give away what the story night's going to be about, but this time I can't help myself. This is the only time I've done dozens of story nights, and this is the only time I'm giving away what story night's going to be about. And usually I try to keep the title ambiguous, but this time I'm just out with it. I'm calling it Pharaoh Shall Drown, because it's a remarkable story of the fall of one of the mightiest empires and one of the mightiest figures, someone who you would never imagine would lose his power, and what steps took place one after the other until he's helpless, going deeper and deeper inside water. Like, how does that end up happening from where things were to where things ended up? So it's a story about power. It's a story about desperation to hold on to power and what you're going to do to hold on to it, and everything you do to hold on to it makes things worse for you instead of making things better for you. And at the same time, there's an alternative story. There's a flip of that script. On the other side is believers who see that the powerful are getting more desperate, more aggressive, more violent, more dangerous, more threatening, more intimidating, and they're getting scared. And Musa alayhi salam is basically navigating both of these. He's navigating Pharaoh as he's getting more desperate, and he's navigating his own followers as they're getting panicked by the desperation of Pharaoh. What's he going to do to us? What's going to happen to us? And both of these sentiments are moving side by side, leading up to this drowning of the Pharaoh. So this is the episode we're going to explore, inshallah. The little that I've been able to extract from it is enough. I don't even know how I'm going to fill all of that in and pack all of that inside of the story night, but I'm very, very excited for it. And I think everyone listening to this will know the relevance of this episode of the story in the climate that we're living in. So I pray that you guys enjoy story night this time, and I'm really glad that it's coming to one of my favorite places in the world. The Muslim community has always been remarkable. Even non-Muslims attending the programs have been just amazingly insightful and very friendly and very engaging with the material. So I'm hoping to have that repeat, inshallah ta'ala, and even more exciting this time. Jazakumullahu khairan. See you there. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.